Hi, and welcome to another AutoCAD video. Today we're going to have a look at how we can create something in 3D. We're going to make a 3D door, and we're going to save this as a block, and then we're going to very quickly look at how we can actually use this block that we've saved. So let's start off by drawing some 2D shapes that are going to give us the structure for what we want for our 3D shape. So I'm going to start off here just by drawing a rectangular box, and I'm going to make it 50, 800, and I'm now going to put the bottom of the door on here, and so I just press enter again and it goes into the last tool, which was the rectangle tool. And now this time I drag the box in the opposite direction, and you'll notice that both of these numbers are now negative, so that's what I want to replicate. So this is going to be minus 150 comma minus 50. And that then draws the box in the right direction. Now, rather than drawing another one, I'm simply going to duplicate that one that I have there. I'll first of all move the UCS just slightly out of the way, just to make it easier later on. So to copy that shape, I simply click on it, COP for copy, and I want to use this lower corner as the base point, because that's where I have something to snap onto at the other end of the door. Now this shape here, which is the door itself, I'm going to squeeze this one inwards by 5 millimeters, and I'll do the same at the other end as well. And this is just to give us some clearance away from the edge of the door. Now 5 millimeters is not very much, and you'll see later on. Okay, the next thing to do is to draw a big shape, a big rectangle, all the way around the whole of it. And it actually looks like I've gone slightly too far at one end. No, I haven't. But if you're ever not sure, what you can always do is you can go into your annotate and then just do a quick measure, so you can do a dimension, so you can see what a distance is. And there you go, that's telling me that that's 5. Okay, the last thing I want to do here initially is to put in some door jambs. Now you'll see how all of these different shapes actually go towards building up the overall shape in a minute, but I'm just going to draw these door jambs off to the side, and it's going to be 50, 20, and the reason I did that off to the side is just because they're really easy to move once you've got them. The base point's going to be in the centre there, and I'll drag it across and lock it into the base point of the centre there. Now I've selected it, I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to snag the same point. And this time I'm going to do a trick that I haven't shown you before. I'm going to use that point there, and I'm going to offset by 20 away from that point, and you'll see how it's now locked in. Of course I could have chosen the other side midpoint here. I just wanted to show you the offset, or the tracking. Okay, those are nearly all the shapes that we need. The very last shape we need is the top door jamb, and that's yet another rectangle, and it simply goes across there. Okay, hopefully all these shapes will start to make sense in a minute. I am going to now switch to the view cube and start having a look at this in 3D. Now I'm going to be rotating around a little bit as I do this, so do bear with me. If you do get confused with it, just by all means stop the video, go back, play it again. Right, here we are. Now the tool we're going to use for this is the press pull. We're not going to use the extrude. So we're just going to use the press pull, and the first shape I'm going to bring up is this one over here, just to show you how it works. So press pull, and I go into the shape itself and click and then drag upwards, and the height I want this is 1950, and then I'm going to go into that small shape there, press pull, 1950. Now going into this shape here, and press pull, and I'm going to do 20. Now this is because that shape there, in a minute we're going to move it all the way up to the top of the door. I now have this one going up by 1950 and that one there going up by 1950 as well. Now you'll start to see that it does get quite confusing. We have all these lines everywhere, and it can be much easier to see if we look at it in a different view. So at the moment we're looking at it in 2D wireframe. If I just switch this to a conceptual view, it makes it much easier to see things. Now, if I just click on one of these shapes in conceptual view, I get these gizmos that appear over the shape. Now that one there is called the rotate gizmo, but what we actually want is the move gizmo. So now when I click on here and drag it upwards, 1950, that's now gone into position, and it's slightly high. You'll notice how it's higher than the top corner there, and all I need to do now is select the shape, and I can now move it using the move gizmo, and I can move it down, and I know that I need to move it down by 20. That's the height or the thickness of the piece of wood. Now I need the lintel to go across the top of the door, and the lintel is that big outside shape there, and you must be careful to choose the right shape before you do the press pull. So it's that whole bounded area. You notice how it's lighting up on the edges here as well, and this is going to go up by 50 because I'm then going to move this shape, and this one is going up by 1950, and you'll notice how that one is now on the very top of the door. Okay, the last shape that remains for me to extrude, again using the press pull, is the door itself. Now the door itself is not going to go up by 1950, it's going to go up by 1945, and then I'm going to select the door itself, and I'm going to move it upwards by 10. Now the reason for that, as you'll see if I show you here, is that what I've done is I've given myself a shape all the way around the door of 5mm on all sides, and at the bottom I now have a space of 10mm. So that's to allow for any floor surfaces down there, and the 5 around the sides is to just give me a bit of space so the door can actually open. Right, we're really nearly ready to make this into a block. Couple more things to do. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate the door so it's open slightly. Now if I use the rotate gizmo, what it would do is it would choose that point there to rotate about. Now what I can do is move that position there and pop it down here on the very corner of the door. If I do that, now when I use the rotate gizmo, I can rotate the door around to a specific angle, and I'm going to say this is minus 45 degrees. Let's see how that door is opened, and actually that's not at all what I wanted. I wanted it to be 45 degrees, so I shall undo that. And let's do that one again. So rotate gizmo, I'll move the gizmo down, position it on the corner, and now I want to go this way, and that is the exact angle of 45 degrees. Okay, so now if I just zoom out and zoom away from that, if I flick around on the gizmo here, I can see how my door looks. Couple more things to do. I'm going to use my move gizmo, and I'm going to move the whole door away from those items that were the 2D items, which I'm now going to delete. I'm also going to position this door so that I can grab a base point when I turn it into a block. So I select all of the shapes, I type in block, and it now lets me put in a name for this block, and it's going to be called 3D door, and it's 3D door 800, and it would help if I could type. And I'm going to specify my base point is going to be that corner there, and the objects, I just want to select everything, press enter to accept it. And what do I want to happen? Well, I want it to convert what I've got on the screen into a block. In fact, in this instance I want to delete it. I do want to allow it to be scaled, I don't want to allow it to be exploded, and I don't necessarily want to open in the block editor. The other thing to check is that your block unit, in this case millimeters, matches the units you used when you drew it. So that's okay. I told it to disappear, so it has done. Let's now have a look at how we can use this in drawing. So I'm going to start drawing just a rectangular shape for a room, and I'm going to make this a 5 meter by 4 meter, and I shall then zoom to the extents of that room. I'm now going to set my wall thickness, and my wall thickness is going to be 150, and I'm going to offset this inwards. Okay, now the same as we did with the press pull, let's use the press pull to make some walls. Let's make them 2.4 meters high, and let's also just make some block shapes, and you'll see what these block shapes are going to be used for in a moment. Now I'm going to use a box, and I'm going to draw a very simple, and it's going to be a 900 by 900 by 1950 box. Okay, I'm just going to make a couple of duplicates of that box, so I'll just use my copy tool, and it doesn't actually matter where I put them because I'm going to use the move tool to move them in a minute. So this first one here, let's use the move tool and let's pop it on the corner of the building there. Let's just zoom in, make sure it's actually locked in the right place. Yes, it has. This one here, let's do the same. So we use the move tool, grab it from that corner and lock it in. And let's just miss the corner this time, so let's redo that. Move. That's actually gone into the wall here. So an easy way of getting it out of the wall is to click on the shape and just simply move it out of the wall. What happened there was I snapped it in to a point inside of the wall. So just to avoid that happening, let's rotate around here and let's snap it to the point that we can actually see here. So move again, choose my point, and there it is, snapped in exactly. Let's do the same again for the last one. So move, now we probably want to move these slightly, so this one, let's move it this way by 1.2 meters. Let's move this one this way by 2.4, let's rotate around again, and let's move this one by 1.2. Now what I'm going to do here is just push these into the wall. So I'm grabbing each one and just dragging it enough so that they're clearly partly through the wall. And it's a really good idea once you've done this just to rotate around and check that they are all protruding through the wall on both sides. And the reason is we're going to use the subtract tool to cut holes in this one shape, which is our walls, using these blocks to cut the shape. So we use the subtract, click on the shape I want to keep first of all. I press enter. I then click on each of the shapes that I want to subtract. I then press enter, making sure I've got all of those shapes selected. Why is it not selecting it? And now I press enter again and it cuts the holes for me. So there is my shape, and it's ready for the first door. So let me just come down here, just so that I can position my door nicely, and I'm going to say insert. It's going to ask me what it is I want to insert, and I'm going to say OK. Here it is, here's my first door, and that slots in nicely. Now if I rotate around to here, let's go all the way around. Now if I tried to put in the same door here, it would be opening outwards. So what I need to do is rotate this door as I put it in. So insert, and I'm going to specify here the angle is 180. And now when I put the door in, it will line up perfectly. Now the last one is slightly tricky because you have to know which direction you want it rotated in, and in this instance we actually want it rotated by 90 degrees, so that again the door will open inwards into the building. And remember that as we look down from the top, it's this one, and it rotates 90 degrees. The rotation is always measured anti-clockwise unless you specify otherwise. So here we are, insert. We're going to rotate by 90, and I'll just zoom in closer so I can actually get it to lock into the right place. And there we have it. So just a very quick tutorial on how to first of all create our door block, and secondly how to use the door block. So in a very short period of time we've got a rough drawing with some decent doors in there in 3D. Now of course we can rotate back to top to plan view, and we can get a pretty good view of our plan, which we could have drawn in 2D. Alright, I hope that's been useful, and once more, thank you for listening.